Elsewhere in Europe, of course, people are starting to emerge from lockdown in more progressive ways than us because they're slightly ahead of us in the curve. And they're experimenting with ways to get people dining out again. An interesting solution is being tested in Amsterdam. I watched this morning, and it's the most watched video on BBC News. And essentially, people are eating their meals in little greenhouses, and they get past their food on wooden boards in by the waitresses. Now, they hope it will provide a way to help people adjust from isolation to a degree of social contact. So you can imagine outside the restaurant, on the front of the restaurant, there's little greenhouses, tables of 2 or 4, and people sat in their little greenhouses, which is great. In fact, there's a pub in Southbourne I used to go to, which had beach huts out in the back garden. And you could sit in a little beach hut. So there's another idea. So that's what they're doing with these little greenhouses in Amsterdam. From the 1st of June, Dutch bars can reopen with terraces with restrictions in place. Restaurants, bars, cinemas, theatres and museums will also start operating again under strict conditions, only with reservations and people remaining at least 1.5 metres apart. So is this a good idea? And is the UK ready for those sort of measures? Greenhouses outside restaurants? Let me know what you think. 0808 103 800. I'll get you through to the dashing Curtis. You can text 81333, putting Solent as the first word. Do you want to go back to restaurants yet? How would you be happy to do it? Let me know. And while you think about that, I'm going to have a chat with Faz Ahmed, who's on the phone now. He's the owner of the Akash Indian restaurant in Southsea, which I've just been talking about. Anyway, Faz, how are you?
Hi, Adam.
How you doing?
Okay.
Have you been out? Have you been out to Southsea seafront? Have you had a look to see how busy it is? Because apparently it's swarming with people.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't, purely because I guessed it would be crowded. I think Boris made a bit of a mistake when he said unlimited exercise outside. I think if he capped it a bit, it would have been better. But where he said unlimited, people are just obviously crowding to the beach on a nice day.
Yeah, well,
no, I haven't.
I agree.
I can imagine.
Yeah, the unlimited exercise coupled with the you can drive where you want have just about opened the door too much, hasn't it? Because people have used both those as an excuse to be outside for ages in the same place. Even if they don't live there, people will travel to the sea now, which we don't really want just yet.
I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Now, Faz, could you see social distancing working at your restaurant, the Akash in Southsea? Have you got that ability, do you think, to space it out like that? Because it won't be easy for most places, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, so we start doing this when Boris announced avoid pubs and restaurants. So we're quite lucky in a sense because we've got 3 units. And we're a 150-seater restaurant.
Good.
So it went down anyway. So we took out a load of tables, stored them and said, look, we advertised on social media. You will definitely be 1 metre away from thing. We even gave anti-bac on every single table.
Brilliant.
Our waiters had gloves on. And so we were taking this measure before. But, I mean, looking at the Amsterdam story, it's going to be very difficult because... to put greenhouses, like these mobile greenhouses...
It's quite extreme, isn't it? And quite expensive, I'd have thought.
Yes, yeah. So it's extreme and it's expensive. And a lot of the restaurants, I know restaurants that got 10 tables. What are they going to do? You tell them put greenhouses, they're going to be, left with 3 or 4 tables?
If that, yeah.
If that, yeah. The thing with the Amsterdam restaurant, it works well because they've got outdoor seating. We haven't got outdoor. And a lot of restaurants, haven't got outdoor. Some have. They're okay, they can space it. But then when the winter days come, what are you going to do, Well,
we'll all be back in if people keep behaving like they are. But that's the problem, isn't it? We need by the autumn, Faz, and by the winter, for this to have literally gone past where we're worrying about it on a day-to-day basis and where you can all operate. Because of all the industries, everyone's taken a hit. But local businesses, local restaurants, local music venues, local places like that, it's going to take so long for everyone to get back on their feet.
It is. I think you're right, but I think you said the right thing there, where if we could introduce sensible social distancing, even in pubs and restaurants, so we could just get it started again. And people are going to Tesco's, people are going to Asda, and they've got it marked, and they're mobile. So I mean, if they're in a pub in the stationery, or in a restaurant they're stationary and they're observing the 1 metre social distance, 2 metre social distance, then we could really start getting things back up, because I know some fantastic restaurants that are really good. I was speaking to a friend of mine, actually. He owns a really good restaurant. They've never bothered with takeaways because, they don't want to go into that. The margins are quite high, and they're just a dine-in. So he's had to go to takeaways, and he's gone from doing, X amount of covers to, he's telling me yesterday, he's done 2 orders. He's turned over £60.
Crikey.
So it's difficult. We were a bit lucky in our sense, because I pushed the deliveries a little bit. As soon as we hit the business, deliveries were very weak. Yeah. I mean, 10 years ago, deliveries were really weak in the restaurant when we took over from my dad. And I said, look, that's an area you can hit. So we managed to get that up. And we were mainly eating in, but then we reacted quite fast. And then we kind of put it out. We've got a good social media following. So we just put, we're still open, open for takeaway delivery.
Yeah, so you went early. You went early with it to get ahead of the curve. Your friend has only had 2 covers, so I don't think there's going to be a shift to takeaway-only restaurants, even if we've got into the habit of it. By the sound of it, by the habit of only having takeaways and deliveries, do you think that's going to create a new takeaway delivery area for people, or do you think we're all going to rush back into the restaurants anyway?
Well,
what do your customers say?
Predict. They're saying they can't wait to come in. And I'm even like that, I want to go out with my wife. It was my wife's birthday not long ago. We just had a delivery pizza and watched Netflix. That was the best I could do, really. But yeah, no, I think you're going to get this sudden urge where people are going to be like, we want to go out, we want to go down the pub, we want to get a curry. So you are going to get that sudden urge. You'll still have your takeaway market, because you have, families with children who can't go out. Generally, there are people that can't eat in for various reasons. Yeah. But I think it will. I mean, I think, me personally, mentally, I'm dying to go out.
And I think, like you, if people are sensible, then hopefully, and I'm sure most restaurants who have the size to do it will be able to distance their tables and do everything. I'm with you. I don't think we need to go as mad as greenhouses. I think everybody just needs to respect everybody else in the way they go into the restaurant, come out of the restaurant, and how they act inside it. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the Amsterdam story, that was extreme. They went quite extreme, because we're not sure how it was going to go. They had some good ideas that were cheaper, like the long boards. So,
I like the wooden boards for the food,
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to be very expensive, and most restaurants will be able to afford that. But actually, to put the greenhouses, that was quite... I looked at it, I thought, gosh, that's quite extreme. And how long do they expect it to go on for? Exactly. I'm thinking by Christmas, latest Christmas, we will hopefully have it buried. I was speaking, funnily enough, I was in the hospital in the respiratory ward at QA, Queen Alexandra, their chief medical thing. He's looked after my dad for quite some time. Okay. So we're quite good friends. And he's saying like a whole ward was all... sorry, I'm going off here.
Yeah, go on quickly.
He was saying that whole ward was high care and intensive care, but it's going down a lot in Portsmouth. It's gone down a hell of a lot. So he said, as long as, we don't go stupid and we start doing things, he's expecting it to go down and not another wave.
Well, that's interesting. Faz, thank you. Good anecdotal stuff there from a local clinician in Pompey. Good man, and good luck with reopening the restaurant and everything, because all you local businesses will need all of us to get behind you to get things back to normal. Definitely. Faz Ahmed from the Akash Indian restaurant in Southsea. Thank you for your time this afternoon. An absolute pleasure.